Let me tell you, if someone had told me that moving to the mountains would turn me into the star of an HOA war, I probably would have laughed in their face and kept packing boxes. But here I am, sitting on my porch with a bourbon in hand, looking back on the craziest, most infuriating year of my life. A year where a quiet retreat became a battleground, and a woman named Karen Delaney nearly stole everything I'd worked for. No, I'm not making that up. And I'll tell you right now, if you ever see a laminated notice stuck to your fence, run the other way or lawyer up. You want a strong hook. Here it is. The day after I closed on my new house, I came home to find my gate ripped off, 80 grand worth of equipment vanished, and a concrete blockade in my driveway with a notice from the Whispering Cliffs HOA, taped right in the middle like some kind of trophy. The punchline? I didn't even have an HOA. Yeah, that happened. I should back up a sec. After years grinding away in Denver, building a telecom company, running myself straight into burnout, I decided it was time for some peace. Bought a 4-acre patch of land up where the pine trees swallow the sky. No neighbors for half a mile, no HOA patrols, no one telling me how long my grass should be. The place was quiet, almost sacred, except for the creaky old barn and a view sharp enough to slice through. Your worst day? The house had belonged to a widow, Alice Monroe, who'd been gone for years. I thought her place was a sanctuary. Turns out it was ground zero. When the paperwork cleared, I started fixing up the place. New roof, fresh wiring, a couple industrial generators, you name it. My wife Mia was still back in Denver with the kids, packing up their lives. I'd sent her sunset photos, promising her that next time she saw that sky, it'd be ours. The first week was all hope and sweat. Contractors everywhere. I even got cameras installed, not because I expected trouble, just because I like knowing what's mine stays mine. Funny, right? Everything flipped on a Saturday morning. Ethan, my contractor, calls me panicked. Someone's blocked the road, he says. Stuff's missing. There's a note saying the HOA has shut down my construction. I rush back, and what do I see? 3 giant slabs of concrete, gate busted off the hinges, generator pads stripped bare, wires hanging out like veins. It was surreal, like someone had declared war and forgot to tell me. Taped right to the railing. Whispering Cliffs Homeowners Association. Construction suspended. This property violates community standards. And there, in red ink, Karen Delaney, HOA president. I actually laughed out loud. The kind of crazy laugh you let out when your brain can't process what it's seeing. I mean, I'd picked this spot specifically because it wasn't part of any HOA. County records had it clear as day, outside jurisdictional boundary. But there they were, planting their little plastic flag on my land like they'd discovered Arizona. My contractors just stood there, wide-eyed, waiting for me to tell them what to do. 80 grand worth of gear and materials, just gone. Sheriff's office? They shrugged, promised to send someone when available. So I started documenting. Pictures, timestamps, every footprint and tire track, every scuffed piece of equipment. Because if there's one thing my years in business taught me, it's that paper trails matter. By Monday, my shock had cooled into a cold, calculating anger. I organized everything into folders, deeds, survey maps, legal descriptions, and marched myself right into HOA territory. Their office was all manicured lawns and fake ponds, SUVs lined up like ducklings. Inside, Karen Delaney herself, sitting behind a desk like she'd been waiting for me all her life. Blonde bob, pearls, the whole queen of the suburbs act. I slam her own notice on the desk, tell her to explain herself. She tilts her head, all patronizing, and says, "Oh, you must be the new owner of Lot 237. I tell her, my property doesn't have a lot number, and it's not part of Whispering Cliffs. She keeps smiling, says I should take it up with legal. But until then, construction's suspended. She claims some buffer zone nonsense gives her control. I lay out the evidence, county deed, zoning map, everything. She barely glances at them. Says, we have 14 attorneys on retainer, and we don't lose. That smugness, that's when I knew this wasn't a misunderstanding. This was a shakedown. Back at my place, the mess was worse. Cameras twisted to the sky, fence posts cracked, concrete slabs daring me to fight back. I drove to the county recorder's office. Nancy at the counter gave me a look like, oh, not this again. Turns out, Whispering Cliffs had tried annexing land before. 2 other owners had gotten cold feet and dropped their fights after lawyers got involved. Nancy handed me a certified parcel map and said, "You're clean. HOA border ends here." I walked out of there with a copy in hand and a grin that probably scared people. But Karen wasn't done. Next thing I know, I get an official email, cease and desist, fines, unauthorized construction, you name it. Signed, of course, by Karen herself. That night, a truck idled outside my property line. Headlights just far enough to make me wonder who was watching. It wasn't paranoia anymore. Someone wanted my land. Sheriff's office said it was a civil matter. County said the same. It was like screaming into the wind. So I went full engineer, more cameras, more backups, everything documented 3 ways. I called Emily, my old attorney from Denver. When she heard the story, she said, "That's not just civil interference, Lucas. That's criminal trespass and fraud. Don't talk to them. I'll handle it." Next day, 3 guys in HOA vests show up to cut down my fence. This time, I called the sheriff and sent them a live video feed. Deputies arrived fast, and wouldn't you know it, Karen herself rolls up in her white Lexus, sunglasses flashing. She tries her ice. Queen routine, tells the officers my property is pending review. The deputy, same one who brushed me off before, says, "Ma'am, county maps say otherwise." Karen's face cracks, just for a second, before she threatens to see us in court. One of her workers actually apologizes on the way out. That night, I combed through every frame of video, filed everything to Emily, and waited. Then the twist. One of Karen's own board members, a disgruntled secretary, leaks us internal documents. Turns out, the HOA forged an annexation notice, dated months after Alice Monroe had already died. Not only that, they'd already sold my property and a neighbor's to a developer for nearly $400,000. Money was already in their account. The signature? A sloppy fake. Emily went ballistic. She filed complaints everywhere. The state, the county, the real estate board. The internet got wind of it after a worker posted the fence-cutting video. Next thing I know, Karen's being called the HOA warlord. Online, reporters are camping outside the neighborhood, and my inbox is full of messages from neighbors who'd been bullied or fined for years. One older guy came by, thanked me for standing up, and told me she fined us for painting our mailbox. It was like finding out I'd been fighting a one-woman mafia. And then, another whistleblower, Daniel Clark, the bookkeeper, walked into the county prosecutor's office with a flash drive full of emails and bank records. He testified that Karen had been inventing phantom parcels, funneling HOA money to her husband's company, and forging signatures for years. When the prosecutor put all this together in court, well, you could hear jaws drop. Karen's defense fell apart. She screamed about outsiders and smear campaigns, but the evidence was a tidal wave. The judge ordered her remanded on the spot. HOA accounts frozen, board operations shut down, and Karen let out of the courtroom in cuffs, still insisting she was the victim. There wasn't a single person in that room who believed her. 6 months later, Whispering Cliffs was history. The HOA dissolved. The signs taken down, fountain dry. Patrols gone. Karen Delaney? Inmate number something in Phoenix, sentenced to 13 years. Restitution paid for my losses, my family finally moved in, and that metal sign at my gate, private property. This land is not subject to your illusions, still makes every delivery driver smile. But here's the part that stays with me. It wasn't just my win. 19 other HOAs across the state got investigated for the same scams. Turns out, sometimes one stubborn engineer with a camera can topple an empire. Now, every so often, neighbors will stop by, coffee in hand, and quietly thank me for standing up. And on clear nights, I'll sit out here, listen to the wind, and remember what it feels like when the noise finally fades. So let me ask you, what would you have done in my place? Do you think justice was served? Or was it just a lucky break that the right people listened? Drop your thoughts below, share your own stories about HOAs, and let's get this conversation going. And if you ever need backup in your own neighborhood showdown, well, you know where to find me.